Good morning. On behalf of everyone at Ware, I'd like to welcome everyone to Q2B Paris. Bpifrance and Ware have worked very hard for the past 6 months jointly to put together a program that we hope you'll find very practical and useful. Before we kick off, Pascal Lagarde and myself are going to spend just a couple of minutes with a few preamble remarks, and then we'll get right into the program. So, the first point that I wanted to talk about is why we've all gathered here. The biggest open question in quantum computing is really, what are these machines practically good for? And when Ware back in 2017 started to contemplate that problem a little bit, we thought one way to try to answer that question would be to try to pull together a program where all of the stakeholders who have an interest or the ability to help solve that problem would be able to get together. And so annually since that point, we've tried to help to chip away at that problem. During that period, between the time we kicked off Q2B and today, something else has happened around quantum computing, which is that other quantum-powered technologies have started to mature a little bit more in terms of technology readiness. And for that reason, we've started to expand the program of Q2B to capture not just quantum computing, but also other areas, other domains of quantum technology, including communications and security. So all of that material is going to be delivered to you over the next 2 days, and this is kind of how it's going to be looking. So at the start of each day, there will be plenary sessions where talks will happen in this room. And then at some point during the morning sessions, things will start to split off. So you'll be able to kind of pick and choose what topics you want to focus on in these adjoining rooms. Now, in addition to the formal presentation and the proceedings, what we really want to do at Q2B is stimulate contact and collaboration between people here. So we're really hoping that you view this as a chance to interact with speakers and really start collaborations with each other in a very informal environment. So after the proceedings on each day, today there will be a happy hour here, and tomorrow evening there will be a reception hosted by Quanta Nation, which is off-site. And by the way, what I understand with that Quanta Nation off-site is everyone in this room is invited, but they're asking you to please register so they can get a head count on that. Now, in addition to sort of talking about the people up here, more importantly, where things really happen is the interaction of the people in the audience. And we're really happy that for this inaugural Paris event, there are over 350 attendees. So really the size of this initial conference in Paris has really exceeded our expectations, and we're really happy about that. And what I mentioned a second ago about wanting to have or needing to have all of the stakeholders together to try to address this problem, we're very fortunate that with the number of representatives we have from all of those stakeholder groups, so the academic and research arena, the user community, which is all of the enterprises out there. There are over 100 different enterprises. And then, of course, the people that are the makers, not the takers, but the makers of this technology. So the whole technology stack for quantum computing and quantum communications. Now, that sort of puts a spotlight on what we are in Paris here. If we take a step back and look at the Q2B program kind of globally, when we started in 2017 at the inaugural event in Silicon Valley, we had about 250 people. And interestingly, between 2017 and today, and that's just 6 years, there's been a 700% roughly increase in the attendance. So the formula really does work, and what we're really trying to do is take the formality out of these sorts of sessions and just have people open up and interact with each other. And I think that seems to be kind of a winning combination. Now, if you look at 2023 up at the top for Paris, this is now the culmination of trying to pull the Q2B community together kind of globally. So we started in Silicon Valley. We set up in Tokyo to cover Asia, at least the part of Asia where high performance computing predominates. And now we're in Paris. So the question is, within Europe, within the EU, why is Paris the place that we think is the right place to do this? There's really two reasons, and the first reason, of course, is Ware set up its European headquarters about 4 years ago, and the reason we did that is we wanted to tap into the French talent base in quantum algorithms, mathematics, condensed matter physics, and those kinds of areas. That's sort of what we thought was important. But equally important, it does turn out that the French government embarked on a program very recently, or over the last couple of years, to make one of the largest investments in quantum technologies and very centralized and coordinated in the EU. And so for us, we're very fortunate that we happen to pick a place to set up operations where there's a very aggressive and heavy investment. Now, what I understand, and I think I've got these numbers right, that from 2022 to 2027, the French government is going to be investing about 1.2 billion euros across quantum technologies, and that includes public investments into public activities and into private sector. And so for us, that's very ideal because that whole array of investments maps perfectly with the stakeholder base that we're trying to tap into for Q2B. Now, what I'm going to do, I've kind of concluded my couple introductory remarks. I would like to introduce right now Pascal Lagarde, who's an executive director at Bpifrance, and his portfolios are international affairs and strategy. So without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Pascal.
Thank you very much, Matt. I'm very happy to be there. And we at Bpifrance are very, very happy to have this very nice conference, business conference on quantum computing, quantum technology here for the first time. And why? Why are we happy? And you said that, you said a few words about the French ecosystem, and I want to stress a few things about it. At Bpifrance, we are very active. We are on the forefront of the development of deep tech entrepreneurship in France. We have a deep tech program which has a continuum of financing from a very, very early stage, from tech transfer to very mature companies, and we do that with different tools, including grants at the beginning. Then we have reimbursable grants, and then we have loans, very risky loans. We have private equity, VC, direct and indirect. Then we have export finance, and we also have a lot of, I would say, non-financial support for the companies. Inside deep tech, we have a special field which is called quantum technology. And quantum technology for us is deep tech technology, and I think for everybody. And as you said, Matt, I think the ecosystem and the creativity, innovation in quantum technology in France is very strong, at least compared to the rest of Europe. And for example, and you named them, the first fund to exclusively target quantum technology was launched in France in 2018, and it was Cantonation, and that's a sign. But since then, and according to the nice work performed by the government, we know that the French quantum ecosystem grew a lot with more than, let's say, 60 startups and SMEs, and almost 300 million euros were raised so far, which was the target of the government program on quantum technology. A few weeks ago, there was a very well-known event, which was that Pascal, a French startup, which has nothing to do with me because it's a Q and not a C. So don't worry, I'm not self-publicizing what I do. And they raised 100 million euros, and Pascal was co-funded by Alain Aspect. We will be talking to you in a few minutes, and he is the 2022 Nobel Prize. Well, Bpifrance is, of course, I would say, very involved in this development of the ecosystem. And we are, of course, a key player because that's our job. And quantum technology is, in fact, a very big section in the what we call the France 2030 program, which is a grant program to develop technologies. And we are managing this program for this field. We also steer the development of funds, of VC funds, which are interesting in quantum startups. And the example of Quantum Nation is quite good because we were, at the beginning, one of the LPs of this fund. In fact, we sponsored it. And finally, what we also do is directly invest in these companies. Of course, I will come back to the example of Pascal. So in Pascal, we were, at the beginning, we were on the first round investor through our Innovation Defense Fund, which is a fund specialized in technologies that would interest the defense ministry. And for the second round, of course, there was a re-up of this Innovation Defense Fund, but there was also an investment of our large venture fund, which is an own equity fund of Bpifrance, which is specialized in large VC rounds. So we are very present. We are very happy to have been part of the development of this quantum ecosystem, and we are very happy to be cooperating with you on this very nice meeting, and I hope that everybody will be able to have good contacts, good talk, and good information in the coming days. Thank you very much.